I hurt my family. I severely hurt my family. And it's taken decades to heal. And now, after years of talking and working together, they finally now understand, and they're glad I did what I did. Actually, they've said that to me. I had to feel it, smell it, taste it, go through what they go through, harassment from the police, the weather, sleeping on the sidewalk, urinating and defecating in the streets and the alleys. I had to go through that. I went through that with the understanding that I have to do this because someday, should I ever get the opportunity to tell or speak to the world about homelessness, I will do it not from an intellectual study data as you normally hear, but I will speak to the world from my heart.
When I hear this thing about Reagan closed the mental hospitals, he was done being governor in 1975. He's been dead for almost 20 years. You've got to be kidding me. This has been an entirely run Democratic city and Democratic state for most of the last 20 years. They're in charge.
There was concern that there was overreach, particularly on the part of American psychiatry. The psychiatrists were too at their liberty to hold people against their will, put them in psychiatric hospitals. There were ample evidence of excesses. It was egregious. Lanterman Petra Short ran all the way in the other direction, where you could not be held against your will unless you wanted to kill yourself, kill somebody else, or had something called gravely disabled.
Right now, you could put somebody in what's called a 5150 hold, which takes them off the streets for a couple days, and then they're back on the streets doing the same thing.
What happens after 3 days? Are we magically going to solve a chronic mental illness in 3 days? It takes weeks or months to get somebody clear enough that they start to realize what's been happening to them.
I would argue that with meth and with crack, the impact that's had on individuals' brains have really created a whole different dynamic as it relates to the mentally ill.
This is a long process. Brain disorders take a long time to treat. And then they will look back and go, oh my God, who left me on the street like that? What were you thinking? Why didn't somebody help me? You see how upset I get. It is, you can't imagine how helpless and frustrating it is. You take an oath to help people. I have a skill set where I can specifically help this population and possibly restore them to a flourishing life. And you're told, just walk over these people, walk by, don't help.
I need to change Lanterman Petra Short Act to expand what constitutes gravely disabled. We just need to have the capacity to involuntarily commit people. It should be more than just a pop singer with a multi-million-dollar bank account that can be under conservatorship. It should be the person dying on the street corner. Is their lives valued less because they're not a pop singer?
The worst thing we can do is to criminalize poverty, to criminalize homelessness, to criminalize mental illness. And we also know that it's not a solution to just say, get off the sidewalk. We have to find a right balance so that we can help as many people as we possibly can.
Do not criminalize these people and do not force hospitalization, but you can't allow the disease to progress without doing something to move that person in the right direction. There needs to be large residential psychiatric facilities built, large, that have step-down services. There need to be care courts with assisted outpatient treatment. We need a systematic structure to get people well off the streets and out into the world.
We need to build capacity. Gone are the days of one flew over the cuckoo's nest. We have advanced science that will allow us to stabilize, but we need the beds in order to get these people the treatment.
How hard is it to open up a mental health center? How hard is it to open up a drug treatment center? Just build the building, buy the equipment, staff the people. They don't do it. We know what to do. They just refuse to get up in the morning and do it.
For those with addiction issues. My own brother died of a drug overdose. To see somebody turn to drugs to mask pain, to mask heartbreak, is really what I saw with my own brother.
We're enabling dependency and we're normalizing deviancy. We got to end everything that does that.
The way I think about it is Prop 47, Prop 57, AB 109, that just tells my patients, the drug addicts, that you can come here and support your habit. Enjoy. There'll be no consequences, and you can steal to support it, and it's on. It's on. And That's how you kill drug addicts. Good job, everybody.
Homelessness, African Americans are disproportionately represented.
You know where the black community in LA is now? It used to be Leimert Park. You know where it is now? Skid Row!
Well, let's look at the history of the African American population in LA alone. We've all heard of redlining, or lack of ability to get a home loan, or lack of services, or mass incarceration. You have generations of families without a father in the home, or an ability to climb the ladder of your career, then you're going to have systemic problems.
What would you tell people about life as a homeless man?
It ain't fun out here. Don't trust anybody. I don't know. I don't want to be homeless anymore, that's for sure.
Based on the history of black folks in America coming out of Jim Crowism, 99 years of that, and then out of 245 years of chattel slavery, and all it has generational effects. Black homelessness manifested is a consequence of systemic racism.
You can't deny racial inequity or institutional bias in our country when you see homelessness disproportionately affects people of color. It also disproportionately affects the elderly.
When you turn a certain age in life, they start putting you in a box, and those jobs for older people that you could count on, they didn't deal with that anymore. It's more or less for the young people. And my husband is a veteran, and he works hard for what he does and how he does it, but things didn't work out that way.
When we think about all the ways people can enter homelessness, oftentimes what we see is that our system has failed. Not the homeless services system, because we catch them when they get here, but the other social safety nets have failed.
There are all sorts of individual stories for homelessness, which is why it's impossible to have one giant solution to homelessness, because homelessness is a collection of 40,000 individual problems in Los Angeles and 70,000 individual problems in Los Angeles County and 150,000 problems in the state of California. Every story is unique.
There's multiple factors that causes a person to be homeless. And until we actually address those factors, homelessness will remain. But the one thing that we can fix in the short term is the permanent housing situation. And that's one thing that we do need to focus on.